On the 15th of June 2020, a violent clash took place between the Indian and the Chinese troops along the disputed section of the Ladakh region, and this led to the death of 20 Indian soldiers. And due to this, a lot of social gatherings took place in different parts of the country to boycott the use of Chinese goods. But what many don't know is that this is not the first time India and China ever faced off. It happened in the past as well. It happened in 1962, it happened in 1967, and it also happened in 2017, the Doklam standoff. So, the India China border issue has been going on since many years. Since 1962, China claims that Aksai Chin, which is actually a part of India, to be their own territory. And they also claim that Arunachal Pradesh is a part of eastern China. The Indian and Chinese troops have been guarding the line of actual control since decades. And to talk about the line of actual control, it is a loosely demarcated line which borders India from Aksai Chin. Aksai Chin, as I told you, is an area captured by the Chinese in 1962 war. So this area has no particular line which says that this is where the boundary ends or this is where it starts. India claims a particular section of the territory, whereas Chinese claim a particular section of the territory, and nobody knows exactly where the border is. And unlike this situation, the line of control which exists between Pakistan occupied Kashmir and India is properly marketed. That is, both the sides know where the border exists and they know that this is the line which they shouldn't cross. But that is not the case in the LOC. So now let me explain to you the geographical specifications of the India-China border. India and China share a border of 4,056 kilometers in length, which starts from Ladakh in the north and ends at Arunachal Pradesh in the east. This huge border is divided into three sections. That is, the western section, which is Ladakh, the middle section, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, and the eastern section, that is Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. Presently, the distress is in the western sector at Ladakh. Presently, the conflict is near a lake called the Pangong Tso. Pangong means a conclave in Ladakhi language, and Tso means a lake in the Tibetan language. So the Pangong Tso literally means a conclave lake. It's a 135 kilometers long lake, over which 45 kilometers is completely in the control of the Indian troops, whereas the rest of the lake is controlled by the Chinese. For those of you who have watched the movie Three Idiots, you would very much know this lake because the last scene of the movie was shot at this lake. And since then, it's been quite famous. In fact, the Chinese have been celebrating the 10th year of the movie, hailing it to be the movie of the century in 2019 December.
The Pangong Lake is a beautiful lake, but now it's filled with disputes. The lake has certain pointed edges which are referred to as fingers. Starting from the left side, they are named as Finger 1, Finger 2, Finger 3, and so on. The Indian Army claims that the LAC lies at Finger 8. It also patrols the area on a regular basis by foot due to the terrains. But it has no actual control beyond Finger 4. China claims that the LAC lies at Finger 2, but they only often patrol up to Finger 4 and very rarely get up to Finger 2. The area between Finger 4 to Finger 8 is actually considered as a grey zone, which both sides claim territory of, but neither sides have actual control over the territory.
The confrontation in the month of May was near finger number 5, but the recent conflict was near finger number 4. It is said that the Chinese troops started settling down, putting out temporary settlements and tents, and literally holding the place, capturing it. And this is what triggered the fight between both the sides. It is said that this is the major conflict after the 1967 war and the most violent one since decades. But luckily, there was no use of firearms. Many of you have this question in your minds of why were there no use of firearms? Why were the soldiers not equipped with guns to handle the situation? To answer this, I need to take you back to the 1996 agreement between India and China. India and China agreed not to have any explosives or firearms along the disputed patch of the border region, and this was mainly to prevent any escalation. But when the integrity of India was at stake, when our land was being captured, the Indian army decided to equip themselves with stones, sticks, iron clubs, and everything and anything they found in that region. And a big fist war took place between the Indian and the Chinese troops. It was, in fact, a very bad clash which took place. It killed 20 people from the Indian side, and that is indeed really sad. A lot of casualties on the Chinese side as well. It was reported that 35 people died in the Chinese side, but the government fails. The Chinese government has not given out any details regarding that.
Unlike the loosely demarcated line at the Pangong Lake, the Galwan Valley is a properly demarcated area and there exists a line which is considered as a border between India and China. But the Chinese troops have moved 3 to 5 kilometers within our boundary and violated their own claim point.
The Galwan Valley is of high strategic importance to the Indian Army because the altitude of the valley is very high compared to the roads below it. The soldiers used to sit on these valleys and supervise the roads beneath, which led to towards the border of China. And the Chinese had occupied this place for a really long time. But now there is gradual disengagement of troops from this valley, and the disputed region and another disputed region was the Spring Valley of Ladakh. This place is not of very much significance and there's no strategic reason to capture it at all. They say that it is just to distract the Indian army from concentrating on the other two locations. So here are some reasons for the dispute with China. Border dispute with China. Firstly, the construction of the DBO road. The Darbuk Shyong Daulat Pek Olti road, which virtually connects Leh to the DBO near the Karakoram Pass, which separates Aksai region from India, is of high strategic importance to the Indian Army because it reduces the travel time by 24 hours from Leh. And this road runs exactly parallel to the LAC. China never wants any infrastructural development near the line of actual control because they fear that it would affect their grip on the Aksai region. And secondly, the Chinese people are not happy with the way the government has been handling the present COVID-19 issue in their country, and their economy is also crashing at a very high pace. So this might be one of the games that China is playing to divert the people's attention toward the border issues. It sort of brings out a patriotic feeling in the people, right? When your country is at stake, all you want to focus is on giving the best for your country. Even though you have a problem, you don't care about it. And maybe that's what China is trying to do right now. They're trying to divert the feelings of people towards the border issue and neglecting the actual issue which is really happening in its own country. Another reason the bilateral experts are giving out is that China is doing this to us only because we are close to the Americans. Modi ji had hosted the Namaste Trump event in Gujarat, which was a grand success, and that marks the friendship between India and America. And this is a great threat to China because Americans have been imposing huge tariffs on Chinese products, and they have been having a trade war since many days. And Chinese fear that if we are too close to the Americans, we would be a bigger threat to them than what America is at the present day. So what can we do as citizens of our country to support our soldiers who are fighting at the border? First off, let's not spread rumors. Let's talk only when we know some things and we know the facts behind what we are speaking. There are a lot of pages on YouTube, there are a lot of pages on Instagram and Facebook which keep putting out a lot of information about the India and China border issue, and most of them are fake. And a lot of pages don't even know what they're talking. And this brings false information to people, and many parts of the country react differently, and it's not good for us as a country. We need to know what is happening, and we need to make sure that we believe the right things and do the proper checks of facts and actual data before we spread certain information on the border issue. And secondly, it is better that we stop using Chinese goods. Boycotting of Chinese goods might help us a lot as a country, because Chinese goods are actually very cheap, and once they are into the Indian market, they sell really fast. This affects the local Indian traders and Indian businessmen who manufacture the same products, because their products would not be bought because it's of a bit higher cost than what the cheap Chinese products are. And this is where the Chinese market completely crushes the Indian market. Hence, we are giving them more of business. We are making them even more richer. We are supplying them the money, and finally what they do is they kill our soldiers in the border. So why do we need to give them money when we are not getting to, so why do we need to finance their resources for them to become a developed country, for them to become a much more powerful country than ours, when they're of no help to us? So if we need to support this movement, if we need to support our Indian government, let's boycott the use of moreover, the Indian government has not announced any a boycott of Chinese goods. But if the people ourselves take a move, if we decide to push away the Chinese products and use something as its substitute, it would be better for us and the soldiers who are fighting for us at the borders. And if you have any other suggestions on what we should do regarding the border issue and how we can contribute as citizens, please go ahead and drop in your comments and let me know. Thank you so much.